Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Light Your Dream Team monthly live training. I'm glad for those of you that are joining us live. Thank you for coming on, and then those that will watch the replay later. Um, Glad to have you here. So tonight, I want to do the training on success buddies. So, what working with an accountability partner can do for your business. Sometimes working from home like this can be a little bit lonely or feeling disconnected. It's not quite the same as going into an office where you can kind of be face to face with others. So sometimes you might feel like you're kind of doing this alone, although we try to really provide tools and engagement on a daily basis through our Facebook group, through the business page. We're always trying to interact and be available in our groups, so anybody can reach out, share challenges, share successes. But sometimes it can be a little overwhelming in the larger groups. We have quite a few people, hundreds of people in the Light Your Dream team. So people might not feel real comfortable with sharing more personal challenges, or if they get frustrated, they might want a more one-on-one approach. And I think that's what this accountability partner does. It typically is going to be you and one other person, not a whole group. So you can be vulnerable and share information with each other. So a success buddy helps you stay committed when you want to quit, take action when you're scared to do so, and keeps moving you forward when motivation fades or you hit a wall. Now, I don't think there's going to be anybody in this business that tells you that at some point they haven't felt any one of these three things. Okay. And if you kind of isolate yourself, it would be really easy to quit and not stay committed, or to pull yourself over the wall. If you can do that, that's awesome. And there's times that we can, but there's also going to be times that we need some help. We need some additional coaching. Okay, so these are some of the benefits of what a success buddy can do for you. Okay, a success buddy and the success buddy and accountability partner, same thing, just two different terminologies. I kind of liked that success buddy. You're going to work together to find success. Okay, so they're going to help you see the possibilities. Sometimes we get blinded by our challenges, our insecurities, and your partner is going to help you see the possibilities. They can help you clarify your vision and your goals so that they are real and immediate and tangible and not just a wish. And, hopefully they're going to be, honest with you. If you come in and say, hey, I really am looking to make $10,000 a month, and they say, awesome, how much time are you going to give to your business every week? And you say, hey, I got 1 hour. And your success buddy could say, that might not be really realistic. let's come up with a plan that might be more realistic. So hopefully they are, helping you fine tune your goals and seeing what that vision is for your business. Okay, and then they're there to help celebrate with you when you hit those accomplishments. So it always feels good to have somebody cheering you on. Okay, so who makes for a good success buddy? Okay, it's usually going to be someone that's on the same path. Okay, they're going for the same goals that you are. So if you are working towards hitting kind of that first rank of director, then you want to partner up with somebody that's also trying to hit director. Okay, that way it's easier to share challenges. You don't feel frustrated. You don't feel jealous. If somebody is at a much higher rank than you and you're just starting out and trying to get that first rank, you're always going to have your sponsor and your upline. So this success buddy is not your upline. We're always going to be there to support. But the idea is that you find somebody on the same level as you. And it's not going to be somebody that, is necessarily in your downline, because you tend to be then maybe one rank above them. So it's perfectly okay to go cross line. So like Alice and I have pretty much been accountability partners for forever. I go to her, she goes to me, and we are in the same leg. I have sponsored her, but she's at that leadership level. So it's a little bit different now. So we work together more as, leader compatibility, masterminding type partnership. Okay, so it's perfectly okay for somebody in, Vicky's line to maybe want to partner with somebody in Jen's line. So it's somebody at that kind of the same level. But it does need to be someone whose influence you respect and someone that you can be honest with. So again, that trust and honesty. Okay. You don't want to pick somebody, again, that you feel intimidated by and that you won't share, or that you feel like you aren't doing as good as or doing enough as somebody that's been in the business for 20 years and you've just started. Okay. So again, finding that level. Okay. So as I kind of mentioned, that business can be tough and doubts can set in, setbacks happen, and you might start to wonder if this is even for you. Okay. And I guarantee you, again, every one of us has felt this at some point. It is not a unique feeling, and it's not even unique to our Mia Bella business. It could be any direct sell business. It could be any job. There's always going to be times where you might be doubting yourself and your abilities. Maybe you feel like you don't have the skills. You believe that you aren't good as others. So when we're kind of isolated again, we can start to focus on that negative mindset where we're just not good enough. Okay, but your success buddy is going to provide you validation that you are on the right path. Okay, they're going to encourage you to believe that you do have what it takes. And they're going to be there to support you through your fears, help confront your unconscious behaviors, keep you focused on the activities that build success, and expect you to do your best. Okay, sometimes we can sabotage ourselves, and usually that's out of fear. We might say we want something, and then we'll start making excuses why we can't get there. And I think that's one of the most important things that a success buddy can do for you is when you set a goal and you state that, it's like, publicly committing to your success buddy, this is what I want. And then when you start not achieving that and they ask you about some of your behaviors, like why did you do that instead of that? And you might not even be aware that you're kind of self-sabotaging yourself. So they can point out those things for you and work with you to get beyond that. And then it is really easy to get caught up in miscellaneous, non-productive activity. And that could be just scrolling through Facebook, not doing a whole lot. So again, that's why you call it a accountability partner. So we'll talk a little bit about how that's going to work. But when you've set a goal and then you've set activity to achieve that goal, and you've expressed to your success buddy, this is what I'm going to do this week, then those are the activities that you need to do. And then as you're going through the week and you find yourself just doing non-productive stuff, it should be a trigger like, I'm going to have to report to my success buddy at the end of the week what I did. And I surely don't want to say the only thing I did was, kind of scroll through social media and I really didn't do the activities that are going to build my business. Okay. And they expect you to do your best, to always come with your best. Okay. So a success buddy does not act as your boss. Okay, they are not going to tell you what you must do or accomplish. And they're not going to punish or criticize you when you don't achieve it. Okay, so they're really supporting you in what you already stated you want. Okay, they're not going to tell you, well, this is what I think you need to do. No, you're going to come up with what is your vision, what is your goal, and you're going to state that to them. My intention is to hit director by this fall. Okay, great. They're not going to say you have to do this. If you start to wane, they're going to encourage you that, hey, you told me this is what you want. And so I'm here to encourage you and celebrate you when you do that. It should never be an environment of criticism or like punishing, like, hey, you told me you were going to do this week and you didn't do it. Now I'm mad at you, kind of a situation. It's okay to have obstacles and downfalls, but we're not going to criticize each other for it. Okay, so what is required then? It does take an environment of trust and honesty and an agreement to be able to tell the truth to each other, so that when you've said something and you don't do it, your buddy's going to say, hey, I'm calling you out on this. You said that you were going to do this, and then you didn't. So they might, you in the beginning of the agreement, you're giving each other permission to say to each other, hey, you screwed up this week, but that's okay. I believe that you're going to do better next week. So that's where that sense of just trust with each other, and then a willingness on your part too to be open to what your buddy says, because sometimes they might tell you things that you might not want to hear, but it's something that you need to hear in order to grow your business. So you have to be open and accepting of the communication that they're giving to you. Okay, and this gives you a great opportunity to learn about yourself. Okay, it's going to help you explore your strengths and build on those. So when you come back to your partner at the end of the week and you're going to say, I did this and I felt really good about this. I felt comfortable. I feel like this is a strength that I have. And then you guys can brainstorm about how maybe you can do more of that strength. Okay. But it's also important to then recognize what your weaknesses are. Where are the areas that you need improving? So if you do come to them and say, yeah, I thought I could do this, but gosh, I didn't quite achieve it. So they can together brainstorm what do I need to get better at this? Sometimes a skill that you're not good at is best delegated to somebody else. Okay. And then other times it's best that you put in the learning. So maybe it's going online, watching some YouTube videos, getting some books from industry, leaders out there. So sometimes it's taking the time to engage in self-learning. Okay. And I did kind of mention this before, that it points out when you might be sabotaging yourself. That is hard for us sometimes to see, but your partner might be able to help you realize that. Okay, so how is it done? You want to meet once a week for about 30 minutes. And this can be by a phone call, FaceTime, Zoom, whatever you guys agree on. I think it is nice when you can be on a Zoom and be kind of face-to-face or do a FaceTime, so you can see each other's reactions and all of that. But a phone call can certainly, work just as well. And you want to stick to business and stay on topic. I mean, the idea is that you become friends and get close, and you might want to, share personal things about your life, and that's fine too, because sometimes our personal lives is also impacting our business life. But you don't want to spend the whole time talking about that, because you don't want the meeting to go on really more than 30 minutes. So you want to try to stay very focused on business, because if you find yourself going, well, this, we planned on 30 minutes, but it lasted an hour and 15 minutes, then you might not be as consistent in doing it weekly, because you're going to go, oh, I just don't have the time. And that's why too, when we do these trainings, we really try to keep it to no more than 30 minutes, 40 minutes really at the highest. We want to get the point across and be able to move on. And it needs to be action oriented, not just a talk session. A lot of it is going to be brainstorming. You're going to be talking about what went right, what went wrong, what needs to be changed. But at the end of it, it's very much about setting, what am I going to do this next week that I'm going to have to come back to my buddy to give an accounting for? Okay, so it has to be action oriented, because talk doesn't get your business built. And then you might want to use a tracker to monitor the progression of movement towards your goal. And that can be done in any, number of ways. Determine what your goal is. If it's, selling this many candles a week or whatever, and just showing a visual of how you are moving towards that goal. If that helps you kind of stay on track and be motivated and excited when you see your progress, but also then go, ooh, gosh, I'm not as far as I thought I would be. So it visually, says, hey, get focused again. Okay. So you want to begin each of your sessions with a win. So you're going to share with each other what you accomplished from last week's task. And it needs to be, in general, if you got 30 minutes, you want to make sure that each of you has an opportunity to share and not be dominated by one person, because otherwise then the other person is going to lose interest and feel like they're not being listened to, not being helped. So make sure you give enough time for each of you to share. So you're going to share what went right, what you accomplished, and then if you didn't achieve it, what did you learn from it? Because I really believe that everything that we do, it's never a failure. There's always something that you're going to be able to learn from that, and hopefully implement a different way the next time so that you then are successful. So after you share your wins, then you can discuss any challenges that came up during the week, and then brainstorm how to overcome those obstacles. And then you can also ask for feedback on new ideas or things you're considering. You can say, hey, I thought of this. What do you think? Does this sound like something that would be a waste of my time? Do you think this is something that I should explore? And then just kind of get feedback off of new things. Okay. And it also is an opportunity for you to role play how you might say something. So that practice getting comfortable. So your little 30-second elevator spill, when you first meet somebody, but it just gives an opportunity for somebody to listen, for you to say it, goof up, not be judged, and then say, hey, you know what? I like how you said this, but maybe instead of, or why don't you add this? So they can give you feedback to that practice session. Okay. And then at the end of the call, each of you need to commit to what action will be taken in the upcoming week. So you've got to say, this is what I intend to do this week. And then when I come back next week, I'm going to tell you about that. Okay. So success buddies, they help each other go a little further, push a little harder, last a little longer, and deliver a little bit more. And when that happens, then success happens. So that is my training. Let me see if I can take off the sharing here. So yeah, let's see here. All right. It doesn't want to stop my sharing. When we're on here live, we can kind of see each other, but then in the recording, it doesn't do that. So I kind of like to be able to kind of see each other. Well, that's not going to work either. Okay. Well, I wanted a few of you to come on that have maybe attempted this with a accountability partner. I know that Allison has. Do you want to share how you've done that and any insight to your experience?
Well, that was a great training, Kathy. And I think accountability partners are so important. It really motivates you. It helps you grow your business because you are sharing ideas, getting new ideas, and things like that. Now, about 3 years ago, I was at Fling, and this was in, I think it was Arizona. And a gal I've never really talked to, she's not on our team at all. She came up to me and we started talking, and she asked me to be her accountability partner. It's Melissa Miller from Arizona. And so we checked in weekly because we both had the goal that we wanted to go on the trip really bad. And we wanted to take, our husbands with. So it was a big goal to hit, a trip for two. So we decided to become accountability partners and we check in each Monday. Now, we didn't do a phone call or a Zoom or anything like that. We did it through Messenger. But I think, a phone call or face to face is better if you can do it. But we would just bounce ideas off each other every week. She'd tell me what she did that week. She told me her disappointments. She told me her, you know, winnings she'd had. And, there was a time she was so excited about a fundraiser for a big school. She spent hours and hours putting together 500 packets of materials for this school. And I was so excited to hear her outcome that Monday. And she was very disappointed because they only sold like 100 candles. And she spent so much time. And so we would encourage each other to keep going forward. You can't let these obstacles get in your way. You can't let, the roller coaster stop you. You have to keep pushing forward and keep pushing forward. And I could go on and on about the things we've shared, but the funny thing about that was at Fling, when they put the numbers up on the board, of the volume and stuff to go for the trip, we were $300 points from each other on the total board, the total numbers. We were neck and neck, pushing each other, pushing each other, pushing each other, and we both hit our goal. And so I think it was a great thing I did. It helped me and it helped her a lot.
Awesome. Yes. See, that's the way it's done. Anybody else on the call that has done in the past or currently working with a success buddy?
Tracy Russell and I are accountability partners, and we've been doing this for quite some time. And we discovered that we actually have some things in common. We both have children on the spectrum. I think she was a dental assistant at one time, and so was I. And it's just interesting how that just happens, how it just kind of falls into place, But yeah, and we encourage each other, we listen to each other, and we actually talk to each other a couple times a day, every day,
Right.
including the weekends.
Very good. No, I think that's really a key thing. If you can be, not only on the same business level, but if you've got personal things in your life, and I think that's a great match for you and Tracy to do that. Because sometimes the struggles of your business has to do with your children, and
exactly,
and not that it's not doable, but sometimes it can be a little challenge when you have children that need some extra care. So that's awesome that you encourage each other that way. Very good. All right. Anybody else done it? No. Okay. Diane?
Yes.
You got an accountability partner?
Lisa Story and I have become partners.
Yes.
And we actually found out after Fling that we live like 15 minutes from each other. And we're getting together this Friday morning to go over some stuff and try to make some new plans.
Awesome.
We're both like kicking it up for the fall and the winter. So hopefully it will be good.
Yes. Okay, good. Well, good. I'm glad that so many of you are doing this. And wow, that's great. That is awesome. So I think we'll maybe put out a challenge here for August that you guys are already kind of on board with that already, but maybe we'll get a few others encouraging to do that. So when I kind of post the recording, feel free to go ahead and state that in the thread that, hey, yeah, you're doing it. And this is why I see benefit. If you can share that in the group, that'll help maybe encourage others to do that as well. So that is awesome. All right. Well, I don't really have anything else. We're kind of at the top of the hour here. Does anybody else have any last minute questions, suggestions, changes to what I offered up?
You just have to say Mia Bella is a great organization and everybody is so helpful. I've worked in other ones and this is like by far the best.
I'm so pleased to hear that. That's my favorite part is helping others, and when I started, many years ago, I was kind of hesitant and scared. I didn't want to recruit. I didn't want to do this or that. But once I kind of figured out that I was going to get an opportunity to train and coach and teach and help, man, then I got really excited about this business. So don't ever hesitate to, reach out to us about anything that you need. My primary job is the team. Before I do anything else, that's where my focus is. So yes, I am loving the coaching and helping you guys and get so excited, especially, all of you on the call here, y'all went to Fling. So I'm expecting big things from you here this fall. I know you're going to implement what you learned, take that motivation and excitement and just carry it into the fall here. And I know we're going to see some promotions. And so that is really exciting. So hopefully these accountability partners can pull each of you through and then you get there together. So Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and call it a night then. Thank you so much then for those that came on live. I appreciate you all. And take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Right.